Ladies, if you are a woman navigating the journey of life beyond the age of 60, I want to share something with you today that might just fundamentally change the way you look at your dinner plate and quite possibly your entire approach to your long-term health and well-being. Now, I will be completely honest with you from the outset. This message might cause you to pause and reflect. It might even stir up a sense of frustration within you as you reconsider long-held beliefs. But that is perfectly okay, because it is my firm belief that it is often within those very moments of discomfort and questioning that real, profound, and lasting change truly begins to take root. You have spent years, even decades, diligently doing what you wholeheartedly believed was right for your body. You have conscientiously filled your plate with what you were consistently told were the healthiest of choices. You have placed your trust in the prevailing nutritional advice, the promises on food labels, and the well-intentioned guidance of various diet trends. But despite all of your dedicated efforts, perhaps your daily energy feels as though it is inexorably slipping away from you. Maybe the number on the scale has not budged in months or even years, despite the fact that you are committed to eating clean and staying physically active. And maybe your inner sense of confidence, once a steadfast companion that you did not even have to think about, is starting to feel a little bit fragile, a little bit out of reach. I witness this exact scenario every single day in my clinical practice. I see remarkable women doing all of the conventionally right things, yet still feeling persistently tired, mentally foggy, and increasingly disconnected from their own bodies. And I want to assure you that this is not because they are lazy or careless or lacking in willpower. It is because the fundamental rules for optimal health after the age of 60 are demonstrably different. Your body has undergone a magnificent and complex transformation. Your hormones have shifted into a new and delicate equilibrium. And yet, the nutritional advice that most women are still receiving is hopelessly stuck in a younger woman's world, failing to acknowledge the unique physiological landscape you now inhabit. My name is Dr. Lily Stones. For more than 3 decades, I have had the profound privilege of helping women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond to reclaim their health, their strength, and their innate vitality. And today, I want to talk with you about a simple but incredibly powerful truth. Some of the very vegetables that you have trusted and relied upon for years may no longer be serving your body in the way you think they are. In fact, for some women, they might be doing more harm than good. This is not a message that is intended to be fear-based. It is entirely science-based. A growing body of new and exciting research is helping us to better understand the intricate ways in which certain foods interact with the unique physiology of a post-menopausal body. And once you have this deeper understanding, you can begin to make conscious and informed choices that actually and effectively support your energy, your hormones, and your long-term vibrant health. So, before we delve into the specifics, if you find yourself nodding along in recognition, or if you have ever found yourself wondering why you feel more tired or bloated after consuming what you thought were perfectly healthy meals, please do me a small favor. Click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and tap the notification bell so that you will never miss out on practical, evidence-based health advice that is created specifically for you. Let us begin with the first vegetable on our list. One that is likely sitting in your refrigerator right at this very moment, and which might just be quietly throwing your delicate hormones out of their precious balance. Vegetable 1: soy-based vegetables. Let me introduce you to a wonderful woman named Brenda, a 67-year-old retired teacher from the beautiful state of Colorado. Brenda is precisely the kind of woman you would instantly admire. She diligently practices yoga on a daily basis. She conscientiously avoids dairy products, and she has been committed to eating clean for many, many years. But despite all of her admirable and consistent efforts, she felt profoundly off. Her sleep was consistently restless and unrefreshing. Her daily energy levels were unpredictable, marked by frustrating peaks and valleys. And a persistent and debilitating mental fog had made her feel as if she were slowly but surely losing her very sense of self. She looked me directly in the eye, her own filled with a mixture of confusion and despair, and said, "Dr. Stones, I simply do not understand. I am doing everything right. Why do I feel so off?" We took a very close and meticulous look at her daily diet, and there, hidden in plain sight, was the answer. Soy was everywhere. There was soy milk in her morning coffee, edamame as her go-to afternoon snack, and tofu featured prominently in her evening stir-fry. It was an entirely well-meaning dietary choice, one that is often promoted as healthy, but it came with a hidden and significant twist for her body at this stage of life. Soy-based vegetables such as edamame, tofu, and tempeh are exceptionally rich in a class of compounds known as phytoestrogens. These are plant-based chemical substances that have the ability to mimic the effects of the hormone estrogen within the body. Now, on the surface, that might sound like a helpful thing at first. After all, we know that a woman's natural estrogen levels decline significantly after menopause. But here is the critical catch. These plant-based estrogens do not behave in the exact same way as your body's own endogenous estrogen. And when they are consumed in large and consistent quantities, they can effectively confuse your entire endocrine system, sending a cascade of mixed signals that can ultimately disrupt your delicate hormonal balance rather than helping to restore it. According to extensive research from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, phytoestrogens can have highly varied and often unpredictable effects depending on the individual woman, the dosage consumed, and her overall health context. For women over the age of 60, whose hormonal systems are already in a state of flux and diligently working to establish a new and stable equilibrium, these potent compounds can often be more disruptive than they are supportive. Your body is working incredibly hard to find its new point of balance. The very last thing it needs is more hormonal confusion from an external source. Brenda did not know this. The vast majority of women do not. That is precisely why I feel it is so important to share her story with you. Because after just 3 short weeks of consciously removing soy-based foods from her diet and thoughtfully replacing them with more supportive options, such as nutrient-dense lentils, a variety of leafy greens, and other high-quality proteins, her energy levels began to stabilize in a way she had not experienced in years. The persistent brain fog that had been clouding her thoughts finally began to lift. And one day, she told me with tears of relief in her eyes, "I finally feel like myself again." That is the kind of profound and life-altering change that can happen when your diet is brought into true alignment with your current biology. And it serves as a powerful and poignant reminder that what worked wonders for your body in your 30s or 40s might not work in the exact same way now. Vegetable 2, canned or pickled vegetables. Let us now move on to the second vegetable, or rather, category of vegetables that may be quietly and insidiously sabotaging your vitality. And it is probably something that you, like so many others, rely on for its sheer convenience: canned or pickled vegetables. I will never forget a patient named Susan, who was 72 years old and a retired nurse from Florida. A natural-born caretaker in every sense of the word. She had dedicated her entire life to looking after others, often at the expense of her own well-being. But when she finally came to see me, she admitted something that she had not yet shared with anyone else. "Doctor," she said, her voice filled with a quiet frustration, "I just feel so swollen. My ankles, my fingers, even my face. I am so tired of feeling puffy all the time." At first glance, Susan's lifestyle appeared to be a model of health. She did not smoke, she limited her alcohol consumption, and she took daily walks with her beloved dog. But a closer and more detailed inspection of her pantry revealed the hidden culprit. There were cans of green beans, jars of pickled beets, and large containers of jarred olives. These were not occasional indulgences for her, they were everyday shortcuts. They were quick, they were shelf-stable, and they were often labeled with reassuring phrases like "heart healthy." But here is the significant problem: the vast majority of canned and pickled vegetables are absolutely packed with sodium, far more than your body actually needs. And for women over the age of 60, that excess sodium does not just contribute to a rise in blood pressure, it also causes your body to retain excess fluid, which directly leads to the uncomfortable symptoms of bloating and swelling and places a significant and unnecessary strain on both your heart and your kidneys. The American Heart Association recommends a daily sodium intake of no more than 500 milligrams for adults over the age of 60. A single, seemingly innocuous serving of many popular canned vegetables can contain nearly half of that entire daily allotment, and that is before you have even added a pinch of salt to your dinner. We made one simple but profound change to Susan's diet. She diligently swapped out her shelf stable options for either fresh or frozen vegetables, and she began to consciously include more potassium-rich foods in her diet, such as spinach, sweet potatoes, and avocados, which help the body to excrete excess sodium. Within just 1 month, her blood pressure had dropped noticeably, but even more importantly to her, the persistent swelling had completely subsided. She told me that she finally felt comfortable in her own body again. "I do not just look lighter," she confided in me. "I feel lighter, like I am not constantly dragging around an invisible weight." That is what truly matters. Not just the numbers on a medical chart, but the deeply personal feeling of being at ease within your own skin. And for so many women, that comfort is well within reach, if only we can stop unknowingly fighting against our own bodies. Now, I understand that these truths can sometimes feel overwhelming. You have been told your entire life to eat more vegetables, and that is still fundamentally good advice. But it is crucial to understand that not all vegetables are created equal, and their effects on your body can differ, especially in this particular stage of life. Your body now has new needs, new sensitivities, and most wonderfully, new opportunities for vibrant health. So, I want you to ask yourself, what is currently in your kitchen right now? What are the foods that you have been trusting and consuming out of sheer habit, without ever truly questioning how they make you feel? Because the reality is that some of the vegetables we have leaned on for so long, soy-based, canned, pickled, might not be as supportive as we once thought. And once you start to truly tune in to how your own unique body responds, you will begin to notice the difference. You will feel clearer, more stable, and more like your authentic self. Coming up next, we will talk about a vegetable that is beloved across American dinner tables, whether it is baked, fried, or mashed, but which causes more significant blood sugar spikes than most people ever realize. And for women over 60, that can be the very root of stubborn belly fat, low energy, and the kind of persistent sugar cravings that can derail even your best intentions. I will tell you exactly what it is, why it matters so much, and how to make a much better choice without sacrificing comfort or flavor. Stay with me. Vegetable 3. White potatoes. Let us now talk about a vegetable that is a ubiquitous staple in the vast majority of American kitchens. It is incredibly versatile, it is wonderfully filling, and it is often served at nearly every single family gathering. You have likely baked it, mashed it, fried it, or served it as a humble side dish more times than you can possibly count. I am, of course, talking about white potatoes. Now, before we proceed any further, let me be perfectly clear. White potatoes are not inherently bad in and of themselves. But if you are a woman over the age of 60 and you find yourself struggling with persistent belly fat that simply will not budge, with frustrating energy crashes throughout the day, or with unpredictable and powerful sugar cravings, then this might be a food that is well worth reconsidering. Let me introduce you to Diane, a 69-year-old retired office manager from Minnesota. Diane was a proud and loving grandmother and the undeniable heart of her family. When she first walked into my office, she looked at me with a quiet and unwavering determination in her eyes and said, "Dr. Stones, I am not chasing youth. I just want to be able to button my favorite pair of jeans again." Diane was not interested in quick fixes or in the latest fad diets. She simply wanted to feel good in her own body, to feel strong, stable, and confident. When we meticulously reviewed her daily eating habits, one particular item stood out immediately. White potatoes were a daily fixture in her life: hash browns with her breakfast, mashed potatoes with her dinner, and French fries with her lunch on the go. It was an ingrained part of her daily rhythm, easy, affordable, and deeply comforting. But here is what a great many women do not realize. White potatoes, and especially when they are fried or highly processed, are among the highest glycemic foods that you can possibly eat. This means that they break down very rapidly within the body, causing your blood sugar levels to spike dramatically in a matter of mere minutes. And what inevitably follows a significant sugar spike is an equally significant sugar crash. Your body responds to this surge by releasing a flood of the hormone insulin to manage the excess glucose. And over time, this constant up and down roller coaster places a tremendous amount of stress on your metabolism. It also sends a clear signal to your body to store fat, and for many post-menopausal women, this storage occurs particularly around the belly. This is not just a matter of appearance. According to the Mayo Clinic, the accumulation of abdominal visceral fat in older adults is directly and strongly linked to a significantly higher risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even cognitive decline. Diane had never heard this information before. Like so many women, she had been taught to believe that potatoes were just a simple vegetable, certainly better than processed snacks and undoubtedly better than pure sugar. But in reality, sugar is exactly what a white potato acts like inside your body, especially when it is fried in unhealthy and inflammatory oils. We did not take potatoes away from Diane entirely. Instead, we strategically swapped them for a much smarter and more supportive choice: sweet potatoes. Being lower on the glycemic index, incredibly rich in fiber, and full of powerful antioxidants like beta-carotene, sweet potatoes provide foundational support for blood sugar stability and help to reduce systemic inflammation. She made small but incredibly impactful changes. She began to enjoy roasted sweet potato wedges instead of French fries, and mashed sweet potatoes prepared with garlic and Greek yogurt instead of heavy cream and butter. These adjustments did not feel like a punishment to her, they felt genuinely empowering. Within just a few short weeks, Diane began to notice that her afternoon energy crashes had completely disappeared. Her intense cravings for sweets had dramatically diminished. And one morning, she effortlessly zipped up those very jeans that she had not worn in years. With a quiet and triumphant smile, she told me, "Turns out, my body did not give up on me. It just needed a little bit better fuel." That is the profound truth of it all. After the age of 60, your body becomes far more sensitive to the impacts of blood sugar spikes. The very same foods that once may have given you a quick burst of energy can now leave you feeling foggy, perpetually fatigued, and more prone to weight gain. And this is not just about how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Managing your blood sugar becomes absolutely critical for your long-term health. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, reports that older adults who maintain consistent blood sugar control enjoy significantly better cardiovascular health, enhanced cognitive function, and greater mobility as they age. Vegetable 4 eggplant prepared incorrectly. Now, let us shift our focus to another surprising vegetable. It is elegant, it is versatile, and it is deeply and beautifully woven into the fabric of Mediterranean cooking. You have likely had it prepared in numerous ways: grilled, baked, or stewed in rich sauces. But when it is prepared in the wrong way, it can quietly and insidiously trigger a cascade of inflammation throughout your entire body. I am talking about eggplant. I met a wonderful woman named Maria, a 74-year-old retired librarian from New Jersey, on a crisp fall afternoon. She was lively and deeply curious, a passionate gardener with an abiding love for classic literature. But she came to me with a concern that a great many women silently and stoically endure. Her joints were aching more than usual, and her morning stiffness had begun to seriously interfere with her favorite daily routines. Maria was not resigned to the process of aging. She was admirably proactive. She simply wanted to understand what her body truly needed from her now. We talked about the importance of movement, of proper hydration, of restorative sleep. But when we arrived at the topic of her diet, a clear pattern began to emerge. Eggplant was her absolute go-to vegetable. She enjoyed it grilled, she enjoyed it fried, and she loved it layered into hearty casseroles. Now, it is important to state that eggplant itself is not the problem. It is actually quite low in calories and provides a good source of fiber and antioxidants. But the significant issue lies in how it is so often prepared. Eggplant has a unique, sponge-like quality. It readily soaks up whatever medium it is cooked in. And when that medium is a common vegetable oil or canola oil, both of which are exceptionally high in pro-inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids, the end result is a food that actively promotes inflammation within your body, rather than helping to reduce it. Why does this matter so much? It matters because chronic, low-grade inflammation is one of the leading and most significant contributors to joint pain, to persistent fatigue, and even to an accelerated process of aging. According to the Cleveland Clinic, an excess intake of omega-6 fatty acids without a sufficient amount of anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids to balance it out can fuel the very inflammatory pathways that increase your risk for developing arthritis, heart disease, and a host of other age-related conditions. Maria was genuinely stunned by this information. She had truly believed that she was eating a clean and Mediterranean-style diet. But that beloved eggplant parmesan she so often prepared, it was being deep-fried in inflammatory oil and then smothered in a heavy, often processed sauce. We did not take eggplant away from her. Instead, we completely transformed how she cooked it. We opted for roasting and grilling with high-quality olive oil, which possesses its own potent anti-inflammatory benefits. We began to use fresh tomatoes and a variety of fragrant herbs instead of processed sauces. Within just a few short weeks, Maria began to move more freely and with less pain. "It feels like someone has oiled my hinges," she joked with a newfound lightness in her voice. That is the kind of remarkable change that is possible when we stop fighting against our bodies and instead start working in beautiful harmony with them. For so many women, the path to wellness is not about deprivation. It is about relearning how to deeply and truly nourish the incredible body you have right now. Vegetable 5 corn. Finally, let us turn our attention to a vegetable that seems utterly harmless and even festive. It regularly shows up at summer barbecues, in snack bowls, and on dinner plates all across the country. It is yellow, it is sweet, and it is so deeply familiar that most people do not even think of it as a potential problem. I am, of course, talking about corn. Let me tell you about Sharon, who was 66 years old and a retired school administrator from Iowa. She was sharp, she was incredibly well organized, and she had spent her entire career leading and guiding others. But when she came to see me, she admitted something that had been weighing very heavily on her. "Dr. Stones," she began, "I feel like my metabolism just gave up on me." She was consciously eating less, and she had completely cut out alcohol, but the stubborn and persistent weight around her midsection simply would not budge. She felt tired, she felt bloated, and she was growing increasingly and understandably frustrated. A quick but thorough review of her daily meals revealed one very common thread: corn. There was corn on the cob, there were corn tortillas, and there were corn chips. It was absolutely everywhere in her diet, not as an occasional treat, but as a dietary staple. The corn that is widely available in its current, highly processed form is not the same corn that our grandparents ate. A significant portion of it is genetically modified, it is often stripped of its valuable nutrients, and it is exceptionally high in starch. According to the Harvard School of Public Health, corn has a very high glycemic index and can spike your blood sugar just as rapidly as white bread can. And here is the deeper and more pressing concern. Those frequent and dramatic blood sugar spikes lead to a condition known as insulin resistance, which is a state where your body's cells no longer respond effectively to the hormone insulin. This, in turn, tells your body to store fat. For women over the age of 60, that often means the accumulation of more visceral fat around the abdomen. The very kind that disrupts your hormones, increases systemic inflammation, and significantly raises your risk for a variety of chronic diseases. For Sharon, this realization was a major turning point. "I just thought corn was a harmless side dish," she said. But once we completely removed it from her diet and replaced it with more fiber-rich and supportive options, like lentils, quinoa, and a variety of cruciferous vegetables, her persistent bloating began to ease. Her mental clarity returned with a sharpness she had not felt in years. She told me, "It is like I have finally stopped fighting a constant battle with my own body." That is the real and empowering message here. you are not powerless. Your body is not broken. It is simply and patiently waiting for you to give it what it needs now, not what may have worked for you 30 years ago. And now that we have explored 5 common vegetables that may be quietly disrupting your energy, your metabolism, and your hormonal balance, you might be finding yourself wondering, well, what should I eat instead? That is exactly where we are headed next. Because removing the problematic foods is just one essential piece of the puzzle. The real and lasting transformation happens when you begin to consciously and intentionally nourish your body with what it truly needs in order to thrive. The nutrients that provide foundational support for your vitality, your movement, and your confidence. Stay with me, because in the next part, I will show you the foundational foods and habits that can help you to rebuild your strength, to reduce inflammation, and to start feeling like your authentic, vibrant self again. The path forward, rebuilding from the ground up. Now that we have taken a closer and more critical look at 5 common vegetables that may be working against you after the age of 60, let us now shift our focus. Because the act of cutting out problematic foods is only half of the complete solution. The real magic, the true and lasting transformation, begins when you start to intentionally and lovingly feed your body what it truly needs to thrive, especially in this unique and powerful stage of your life. I would like to introduce you to Elanina. She is 71 years old, thoughtful, sharp, and the type of woman who has genuinely tried everything. When she first came to see me, she said, "Dr. Stones, I have counted calories, I have tried intermittent fasting, I have bought all of the supplements that the internet told me to, and I still feel completely and utterly stuck. I am so tired of chasing results that never seem to come." I hear this sentiment expressed in my office a great deal. There is certainly no shortage of quick fixes and miracle cures being marketed out there, but they so often ignore the absolute basics, the steady, proven, and foundational practices that provide support for long-term, sustainable vitality. Elanina did not need another gimmick. What she needed was clarity, she needed consistency, and she needed a plan that was specifically tailored to her own body's very real and present needs. So, we started simple. First, we completely cleared her pantry of the 5 categories of vegetables we just discussed: the soy-based foods, the canned and pickled vegetables that were high in sodium, the white potatoes, the oil-soaked eggplant, and the processed corn. Then, we began to rebuild her diet from the ground up with foods that deeply nourish instead of deplete. The first pillar of her new foundation was leafy greens. Spinach, kale, arugula, and Swiss chard are incredibly rich in folate, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin K, all nutrients that provide foundational support for bone health, that help to regulate blood pressure, and that protect against age-related cognitive decline. According to the National Institutes of Health, women over 60 are at an especially high risk for developing conditions like osteoporosis and high blood pressure, which makes the regular consumption of these greens not just helpful, but absolutely essential. Elanina began by adding a large handful of fresh greens to her breakfast smoothie each and every morning. At lunchtime, she swapped out her usual bread for a large and vibrant salad with a simple dressing of olive oil and lemon juice. These were not major, life-altering changes, but they created a noticeable and profound difference. Her digestion improved, her blood pressure numbers lowered, and she began to feel more awake and alive in her own body. Next, we focused on incorporating an abundance of healthy fats. Not the kind of inflammatory fats that are found in deep-fried eggplant or in heavily processed salad dressings, but the kind of fats that your body actually needs to reduce systemic inflammation and to support a healthy and balanced hormonal state. Think of avocados, of extra virgin olive oil, of a variety of nuts and seeds, and a fatty fish like wild-caught salmon or sardines. The omega-3 fatty acids that are found in fish and in flax seeds have been conclusively shown in numerous peer-reviewed studies to reduce inflammation and to provide essential support for both brain and joint health. For Elanina, this meant adding a tablespoon of chia seeds to her morning oatmeal and enjoying a portion of grilled salmon twice a week. These small and simple adjustments gave her body the powerful tools it needed to fight off her morning stiffness and her persistent mental fog. We also placed a strong emphasis on consuming an adequate amount of high-quality protein. As we age, our muscle mass naturally declines in a process known as sarcopenia, which can slow down our metabolism and significantly increase our risk of falls or fractures. Getting enough high-quality protein helps to preserve this precious muscle. It supports our body's recovery processes, and it keeps us feeling full and satisfied after meals. Elanina began to consciously include sources like eggs, a variety of legumes, and lean poultry in each of her meals. Lentils in particular became a staple for her. Not only are they incredibly protein-rich, but they are also packed with fiber, iron, and folate. Fiber is another one of the unsung heroes of nutrition, particularly for women in this chapter of life. It provides essential support for our digestive health, it helps us to manage our weight, and it works to stabilize our blood sugar levels. According to the USDA, the vast majority of adults do not get nearly enough fiber in their diets. We made it a priority in Elanina's meals, incorporating whole grains like quinoa and brown rice, fruits like berries and pears, and a wide array of vegetables, especially broccoli and Brussels sprouts. But nutrition alone is not the full and complete picture. We also talked extensively about hydration. Many women do not realize just how easily the body can become mildly dehydrated after the age of 60. That tired or foggy feeling you might experience is often your body's way of asking for water. We set a simple and achievable target for her to drink half of her body weight in ounces of water each and every day. To her genuine surprise, that one change alone significantly improved her alertness and completely eased her frequent headaches. Next came movement. No, not high-intensity, punishing workouts or expensive gym memberships. Just consistent, joyful movement. Elanina began the simple practice of walking daily. Nothing forced, just a pleasant 20 to 30 minutes in the morning. We also added in some gentle stretching and some simple balance exercises. Over time, her posture noticeably improved, her joints felt looser and more mobile, and she proudly told me, "I do not get winded going upstairs anymore." And then, we looked at the crucial pillar of rest. High quality, restorative sleep is absolutely foundational to our health. Poor sleep disrupts our hormone production, our blood sugar regulation, and our mood. For Elanina, we created a simple and calming nighttime routine. No screens for an hour before bed, a warm cup of magnesium-rich herbal tea, a consistent bedtime, and a cool, dark, and quiet room. Within a matter of weeks, she was sleeping more deeply and waking up with a tangible sense of more energy. And finally, we talked about something that many women tend to overlook: the emotional side of health. As women, we so often prioritize the needs of others, our children, our partners, our aging parents, leaving very little time or energy for ourselves. But a sense of purpose, of joy, and of deep connection are absolutely critical for our vitality. Elanina began the practice of journaling. She started calling old friends, and she began volunteering twice a week at a local community garden. She did not just want to live longer, she wanted to truly enjoy the life that she had. 3 months after we began this journey together, Elanina returned to my office as a completely different woman. She was not just lighter in her body, she was profoundly lighter in her spirit. Her complexion glowed with a new radiance. Her voice had a newfound strength and clarity. And when I asked her how she was feeling, she smiled a beautiful, genuine smile and said, "Dr. Stones, I finally feel like I am back in the driver's seat of my own life." That is what this is really all about. It is not about chasing the woman you were 20 years ago, but about stepping fully and completely into the magnificent woman you are today, stronger, wiser, and still so full of possibility. Because you are not too old, you are not too late, and your body has most certainly not given up on you. But you do have to give it the right tools. You have to remove what is quietly working against you and replace it with what truly and deeply supports your strength. A blueprint for vitality, putting it all into practice. Now that you know which foods to remove from your diet and which ones to enthusiastically include, let us talk about how to make it all work in your real, everyday life. Because knowing the what is only half of the battle. Living it each and every day in a way that feels manageable, sustainable, and genuinely empowering is where the true and lasting transformation really begins. When I work with women over the age of 60, I often hear the same heartfelt concern, Dr. Stones, I want to eat better, but it all feels so incredibly overwhelming. Where do I even begin? The answer is always the same. Start simple, start small, and most importantly, start with consistency. Let me give you an easy-to-follow blueprint, a daily rhythm that has worked wonders for a great many of my patients, including Ella Lenana, Brenda, and Sharon. In the morning, begin your day with a blood sugar, balancing breakfast. It is crucial that you skip the toast, the sweet cereal, or the banana-laden smoothie. Instead, opt for something that skillfully combines fiber, protein, and healthy fat. You could try a green smoothie made with spinach, chia seeds, almond milk, and a scoop of high-quality protein powder. Or, you could have 2 boiled eggs with a side of creamy avocado and a small handful of fresh berries. Your breakfast sets your hormonal tone for the entire day. A high carbohydrate start will inevitably spike your insulin and will leave you chasing your energy all morning long. A steady, nutrient-rich meal provides you with the sustained fuel you need to stay clear-headed and energized. For your lunch, build your plate around a foundation of vegetables, protein, and healthy fats. One of my absolute favorite go-to meals is a large and vibrant salad with a base of arugula, topped with either grilled salmon or a serving of lentils, some chopped walnuts, a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, and a hard-boiled egg. If you add a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds and a fresh squeeze of lemon, you have created a nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory powerhouse. Your dinner does not need to be complicated. Think of a simple plate of roasted sweet potatoes, some sautéed leafy greens, and a portion of chicken, chickpeas, or grilled tofu. If you add a drizzle of olive oil, some fragrant garlic, and a variety of herbs, you have got a plate that deeply nourishes your body without causing you any stress. And please, do not forget about your snacks. It is important to choose them wisely. A small handful of almonds, a sliced apple with some natural peanut butter, or a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt with a dash of cinnamon can keep you feeling stable and satisfied between your meals and can help to prevent the intense cravings that so often show up in the mid-afternoon. What you drink throughout the day matters immensely as well. Water should be your absolute go-to beverage. Herbal teas like ginger or peppermint can aid in your digestion and can help to reduce any bloating. Try to limit your caffeine intake in the afternoon, and it is best to reduce or eliminate sugary drinks altogether. They spike your insulin and offer no real and lasting benefit for your energy levels. If you find yourself craving something sweet, I suggest you reach for a small piece of high-quality dark chocolate, 72% cocoa or higher. Enjoy it mindfully. A square or two can be deeply satisfying without derailing your progress. The key to all of this is not perfection, but intention. Your health is not built by one single perfect meal, nor is it undone by one single indulgent dessert. It is shaped by the small, consistent, and loving choices that you make on a daily basis. Choices that align with how you truly want to feel strong, clear, mobile, and deeply present in your own life. Let us also talk about something else: your environment. One of the most overlooked factors in achieving lasting health is what surrounds you. If your pantry is currently filled with the very foods that are sabotaging your progress, then change must start by cleaning it out. Go through your shelves, one by one. Remove the canned goods that are loaded with sodium. Get rid of the corn chips and the sugary sauces. Replace them with bags of frozen vegetables, a variety of dried herbs, and an abundance of whole foods that are in alignment with your health goals. Make it easy for yourself to choose well. Keep a bowl of fresh fruit on your counter. Prep your vegetables ahead of time so they are ready to be roasted. Batch cook some whole grains like quinoa or brown rice. These small and simple steps can turn the act of healthy eating from a chore into a seamless and enjoyable habit. Also, please let go of the all or nothing thinking. If you happen to eat something that is off plan, do not punish yourself for it. Do not give up on your journey. Just simply and gently return to your supportive routine with a sense of compassion. Your body responds to grace far better than it ever will to guilt. Now, here is what I really want you to hear. There is something incredibly powerful that happens when a woman over the age of 60 begins to truly believe that progress is still possible for her, that her body still listens, and that she is still capable of profound change, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally, too. I have seen women who had not exercised in a decade begin to take peaceful evening walks. I have seen women who thought their best days were far behind them show up in my office with a renewed sense of energy and confidence. I have seen women stop saying, "I am too old," and start saying, "I am just getting started." You are not a passive passenger in the aging process, you are the driver. And every single choice you make, every meal you prepare, every step you take, each one of them tells your body, "I still care, I still believe in you." The science absolutely supports this. Studies from the National Institute on Aging have shown that women who adopt healthier eating habits in their 60s and beyond can significantly improve their cognitive function, reduce their risk of chronic disease, and enhance their overall quality of life. It is never, ever too late. But the transformation does not begin with a gym membership or with a dramatic and restrictive diet. It starts with a quiet and firm decision to show up for yourself every single day in ways both big and small. You do not have to do it all at once, but you do need to begin. So, let me leave you with this. The world may try to define you by your age, but your body listens to your actions. It listens to your choices, to your nourishment, to your movement, and to your mindset. You do not have to chase your youth to feel vibrant. You only have to provide loving support to the magnificent woman you are right now, with wisdom, with care, and with the same profound devotion that you have likely shown to everyone else in your life for decades. Now, it is your turn. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you found this message to be helpful, please take a moment to reflect on what resonated with you the most. Was it a story that reminded you of yourself? Was it a tip that felt manageable and inspiring? Was it a new understanding about how your body works? I would be honored to hear about it in the comments below. Your story may be the very encouragement that another woman needs to begin her own journey. And if you want more practical, evidence-based health advice that is tailored to women like you, strong, wise, and still evolving, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and to turn on your notifications. Together, we can reshape what it means to truly thrive after 60. Your best years are not behind you, they are right here, patiently waiting to be reclaimed. Let us begin.